Hey everyone, my name is Tatiana and my channel is Reading with Tatiana if you want to come check me out. This is my monthly non-fiction submission for Literary Gladiators, so thank you Josh for inviting me to be a part of this. And for this month I'm reviewing Born to Run, a hidden tribe, super athletes, and the greatest race the world has ever seen by Christopher McDougall, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5. This book was published quite a while ago. It was published in 2009. The genre is nonfiction, and I would specify it's in the sport category, and more specifically, the running category. You're probably wondering why I'm reading and reviewing this book. So to give you some insight on my personal life, I am a avid runner. I picked up running in my mid-20s. I'm now in my mid-30s, and it's something that's honestly changed my life. I run every day, and I've done run streaks of 600 plus days. I've ran marathons. I've ran ultra-marathon distances on my own. I've run 6 marathons in a month. Running has really changed my life. I don't want to say that it saved my life, but definitely during COVID, I think it definitely kept me sane because I'm very extroverted. And when we had pretty extreme restrictions and lockdowns in Canada, I think being able to run really helped me stay sane. So running is a big part of my life. I have lots of friends that run, so I was very drawn to this book. So let's get into this book. So this book is written by Christopher McDougall, who is a journalist. He's written for Men's Health, Running World, and all that kind of stuff. So basically, he has always kind of ran on his own, but he always got injured. So he couldn't figure out why he's always getting injured. So he kind of researched a bit, went to a lot of doctors and that kind of stuff, got really supported shoes, went to a fit doctor, all these kind of things to try and make himself feel better when he runs. But he just kept getting injured. And injury from running is a very common thing. And this book, I think it quoted like 70% of American runners are going to get an injury in their life. So, he was very frustrated. So through his research about seeing why he was always so prone to injury, he learned about this tribe in Mexico called the Tarahumara, and this tribe, they could run miles, like they could run 50, 60, 70, 80 miles with very low view, and they could run after drinking, and they also wore these very minimalist like strap-on sandals. And when I say sandals, I don't mean like sandals you were hiking, that vibrant technology and are very secure. They ran in these like they made themselves these sandals. They literally strap onto your feet. So Christopher was very mind blown because I think in American culture, in North American culture, or I guess running culture in developed countries, it's all about having the latest tech, being well viewed, having the right gear and all that kind of stuff. But these tribal people just ran with barely anything, and they're able to run for really long distances and very fast. So this book kind of talks about his discovery of these people, him going down to Mexico to discover, to research about them, seeing them in person, and he was just blown away because it was true. These people could run crazy distances with like not properly trained or with no right gear. And then this book kind of goes into about mechanics of running, and while of all the animals in the animal kingdom, that humans evolved to run and to be endurance runners. I don't really want to expose the book. It's honestly worth reading, but he kind of talks about how we evolved to be, bipedal, and how the way we're structured, because we're this, our lungs, we can breathe however we want to match or exceed our stride. Whereas like animals, especially a cheetah, who's like a very fast runner, because they're in all fours, even though they're the fastest runner in terms of like speed, they don't have good endurance because when they run, so here's like this cheetah with its body, it spreads its legs and its lungs are not compressed, so it breathes in. But as soon as it strides in, it compresses its lungs, so it's not able to like have good oxygen exchange. It's just I don't know, it was just fascinating to read. And also a book talks about like the idea of a running shoe, and for me, I now run with lots of cushion shoes because I always believe that it's better for injury because I have these nagging pains and that kind of stuff in my ankle. But this book kind of challenges that and saying how wearing shoes is like wearing a cast, and you can't make your feet not feel the ground and not have the immediate feedback because the shoe is kind of like a barrier to that. And that really blew my mind. Like I had heard about not wearing shoes when you weightlift and that kind of stuff because you want to feel all your points of your feet to the ground. I also experienced that in yoga. However, this book really talks about you want your feet to feel the ground. Obviously, you can't do that overnight because I legs, your knees. But this book talks about these people who are bare feet runners and only run bare feet or with very minimalist shoes, and it was just amazing for me to read. So this book also talks about, this tribal people, the biomechanics of running, the history of humans in relation to running, the idea of minimalist shoes, and it kind of talks about the birth or the origins of ultra running, ultra racing, and it follows all these ultra runners and their journeys that happened in America all the way to this race in Mexico, where this man called the Cabello, he kind of organizes this race with having the tribal Terra Humera runners against these very prolific American ultra runners. And this book is just so great, such a journey. I just freaking loved it. I really hope you read it. I'm interested to see if you're not a runner, if you read this book, what you think, because for me, I freaking loved it. I gave this book a 5 out of 5, however, there's always room for critical feedback. So one thing I didn't like about this book is the hook is you read about the Terra Humera and this tribal people who can just run these crazy distances. But then after that, you kind of like stop talking about them. And I kind of feel like it was like a hook and it just kind of like moved on and I wanted like more, maybe like more about each individual runner of the tribe or something like that. I felt like after, I was kind of disappointed in that. What I did like, and I kind of talked about it when talking about this book, is I just love learning so many facts about running. It just really blew my mind. As a runner myself, it was just great to read it. It was just very entertaining, very, fact finding, and very interesting. On Goodreads, this book got an average of 4.3 out of 5. However, I am curious for people who aren't runners if you read this book, what they thought, because I think a lot of people who are drawn to read this book are people like me who are runners, so it's kind of like preaching to the choir. So lots of reviews said that it changed your life, it changed your point of view about running, and I totally agree with that. But I said before, you're preaching to the choir. I mean, everyone overwhelmingly loves this book on Goodreads. I think you should read this book if you are a runner. It's just great. It's just like, I feel like if you're a runner, sometimes if you have friends or family members that aren't big runners, you feel like you're kind of like obsessed or crazy about this like activity. So it's nice to read this book and then read other people also obsessed with the sport. Now I'll share how this book made me feel, because even now, a few days after reading this book, I don't remember exactly what happened in the book, but I'll always remember how this book made me feel. So this book, Born to Run by Christopher McDougall, it made me feel so inspired. I freaking love running in my personal life. It's just lovely to read people who are also equally, but actually even more obsessed about running in this book. Thank you for watching my monthly contribution to Literary Gladiators. If you're watching till the end, I will really appreciate if you check out my main channel, Reading with Tatiana. I hope to see you there, and I'll see you guys next month.